You oughta,
White.
you oughta,
Oh,
you oughta rack 'em up with me. You oughta, you oughta, you oughta rack 'em up with me. When you're feeling down about as blue as can be, all you got to do is shoot some pool with me. You said you oughta, you oughta, you oughta rack 'em up with me. Oh yeah, you oughta rack 'em up with me.
Hi, I'm Larry Nathan, and welcome to Medford, Oregon. I'm at Rackin' Billiards in beautiful downtown Medford. And what we're going to talk about today is the game of pool. This program is for intermediates, it's for beginners too. If you played the game before, you like it, you're playing it now, you want to get better, this is the program for you. You're going to get a lot of hot tips here, and we're going to show you how to enjoy this game like you never have before. You're going to get better. You're going to start winning. You want to rack 'em up with me? Well, this is Rack 'em Up. Okay, here it is. It's Wednesday night. It's BCA League night, and I have with me the operators of the league. It's a husband and wife team, and I got Brian and Vicky. Oh, I did that wrong. Vicky, the girls first, and then Brian.
Always.
And they. How long have you been running this thing?
About 6 years now, something like that.
Now, how many teams do you have right now?
Right now, we currently have 7 teams playing.
Okay, and each of them have about 5 players on them.
5 or more.
Yeah, I've been playing BCA myself, as you might have noticed, for I guess it's the last 7 years. I thought it was like 5. 2 just flew past. And I want to thank you guys, by the way, while you're here, for organizing this thing. Okay, first thing you got to do is got to teach you how to break. Okay, but before we do that, let's teach you how to rack. There's a right way and there's a wrong way. First of all, the balls have to be touching. In BCA rules, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, okay, because you're the operators. You have to have a solid on one side and a stripe on the other side, of course, the 8 ball in the middle. Everything else, it really doesn't matter. And when you break the balls, you got to have 4 balls go to a rail. If you sink the 8 ball on the break, in BCA, doesn't count. We came to play pool, not to get lucky. So I think it's a really great rule. As far as when you make the 8 ball, if you sink the 8 ball and you scratch, you lose, okay? If you scratch but don't sink the 8 ball, you're fine. You just have to give it over to your opponent and they get a chance to finish out or hit the 8 ball in. So, when you break, you can break on the head, on this side, even as far back as here. It doesn't matter. Whatever works for you on the tables that you're playing. Okay, it's my turn to break.
Yeah. Do it.
It's my turn to do everything, isn't it?
Show us what you got,
I'll tell you
Larry.
what.
12.57. 15.2.
11.96.
Yeah, go to 15.31. 15.7.
11.96.
Yeah, go to 17.28. 18.71.
Almost made a ball, too.
22.16. 23.29. 16.52.
I got one.
You got one.
Nice break.
Thanks. What's my problem here?
A big cluster of balls over there on that one side you're going to have to get out.
Now, the rules here are what as far as when you make a ball? You get a choice.
Yes. So you can either take the solids or the stripe balls at this point of the game until you've made one or the other afterward.
That's different than rec room pool, okay? So I look at this over here and this is a mess. And somehow quickly I'm gonna find a way to get on it. So if I can get on if I can take the 9-11 combination, okay, which is a tough first shot, I could get over here on the rail and hit this 13 and try and knock this out. At this point in the game, I can make a decision to try and look for a safety too as well. Sometimes after the break, it takes a really long time to make up your mind, doesn't it?
For some of us, yes.
Well, I'm one of those some of us, and I'm not quite sure what to do in this case. What do you think, Vicki? You think I ought to play safe, or you think I think the stripes are the right one?
Stripes are the right ones, but do you want to take a combo right off the bat and take the chance of not getting the stripes? Or you want to sink a stripe and get it settled and carry on from there?
Very good point. Very good point. What have I got after that, though? Do I have to drop it back? Hey, I could draw it back and maybe make the 11 and do it from there. That's what I'll try and do. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a chance on the combination. I'm pretty good at those. Line this up so I can see this. I just need to get on the rail for the 13. Oh, that's horrible.
That's why you never take a combo, Larry. It's a bad percentage shot.
She's right.
Just wanted to tell you
She's
that.
right. Combination's the toughest shot in pool.
Yep. Now Brian's going to take those darn stripes.
He did. He took
You
them
should
away
have
from me.
established your ball.
What do you think about the, you got the whole family playing the game, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great family game. You know, it's hard to find time with the kids to get together in a family, and with pool, we bring them all together, and we get to see them once a week. So.
Do you get a chance to win or lose to those kids of yours?
Well, you know, unfortunately, because we're all very competitive, they're getting really good. It's a little tough, but yeah, they're doing great.
You're not supposed to yell like that. That's bad. Okay? Everybody knows when Larry's in the pool hall because he's a little bit too demonstrative, if you know what I mean. So, you're gonna play that way, huh? Well, I've dealt with you guys before in the Hall of Fame games. Yeah, that's what it was, the Hall of Fame game. When I played Willie Mosconi, that's what I played. Yeah, that's what it was. So,
he's
you
gonna
want to be a
try-
wise guy, huh?
Gonna try to.
Well, I needed to be a little closer to
That
that
12 ball
rail
out of
for
there.
this shot. We'll try her anyway.
Oh, went for the breakout, missed the shot. Oh, so typical.
This could. He went for it all. You know, this is just a casual game. Normally, I'd be crying. Take the 3 in the corner. If it's not apparent where you're going, you should call your shot. Okay, just have move something a little out of the way here. Sorry, man.
Nice shot.
Did you see the muscle I put into that shot? Those are huge. Biceps. I think my pectorals felt flexed. That's going to have to be a combination. I'm feeling very confident now.
You're gonna get
This
this
could
one.
be a touchdown. Oh, no!
Oh, another one of those combos, Larry.
I'm sorry. There are people in the back of the pool hall who are mad at me right now for interrupting their shot.
Did I not tell you not to take a combo? I'm telling you.
Well, the other thing about the game is that you meet so many interesting people. You know, there's so many different members. We've got attorneys, we've got carpenters, we've got blue collar, we've got white collar, we've got people from all walks of the life. But, you know, when you get down here to the pool hall, everybody has something in common. And what's
Yes.
that?
Just the game, the competitiveness, you know, and it's a learning process too, but you definitely meet good friends. You develop good friends, you meet them, and you'll play pool forever. That's the nice thing about this sport, is once you start it, it's a game you can play way into, well, older than even you, Larry.
Good game, Larry.
I got clobbered there, didn't I? All right. It was really nice up until the end there to have you on the show. Yes. Yeah, I hate you too. All right. That is BCA 8-ball, and I want you to come back and see our next guest. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
That was fun. Hello again, boys and girls. It's time for your lessons, and I want you to listen closely because there's going to be a test later. Look, I've got this segment here for beginners. This is a free lesson for you. You normally have to pay lots of money for this. And who do I have? I have Linda Carter. She's a grandmaster. She's one of 15 women in the world selected to be on the International Pool Tour. Linda, come on over here.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, thanks for being here. What she's going to do is she's going to share the things that you need to do. These are basic fundamentals of the game, so listen closely. Linda, won't you?
Thank you, Larry. Well, today I'm going to be showing you different strokes, but also how you're going to address the cue ball and how to decide what to do. This is very basic for learning how to play position. So what we're doing is looking at a cue ball, and it usually has some kind of marking on here. So we're going to use that as a reference. We're going to put that smack in the middle, and if you imagine this as the face of a clock, this would be 1 o'clock, that would be 3, 6, 9, and 12. And so anything to the side of this little mark here is called English. Right English, left English. And anytime you shoot along this axis, 12 and 6 o'clock, that's going to be middle ball. So it's either middle high or middle low or just plain middle. Okay? Now each time you hit the cue tip into one of those spots, it's going to react differently on the cue ball. So for instance, if you want to go past your shot where that ball is, that would be called follow. And you would be hitting the cue ball high to achieve that. If you want to stop the ball and there's a very short distance, then you would hit middle ball or just slightly below middle ball. And if there was a long distance, you'd shoot really low on the ball. Now, if you want to go backwards from this ball, then you would apply low, low. And I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of that. So basically, a stop shot is basically you're going to stop and not replace this ball, but be one ball behind it for position. So I'm going to just use about a middle ball like that, okay? Now another one, if I wanted to follow, and I'm going to make a little angle so I don't follow it into the pocket, and you're going to shoot high. You see, here's middle, the fattest part of the ball. Now I'm going up high, and you just adjust low and high with your bridge. And so I'm just going to follow through high, and that made my cue ball go past that ball. Now if I want to go backwards from that ball, all I need to do is shoot with a nice little low stroke, and you usually want to chalk up first, and that will send the cue ball back to you. Now, when we were talking about needing to shoot either middle ball or lower, the reason is because if there's distance between the balls, what happens is when you're shooting with anything below center, the cue ball is initially going backwards like this. It's got backspin on it. Then it will hit a space where it goes into slide, and it's a neutral zone, and you can still get stop on that. But then forward momentum takes over, if you've had enough room, and it'll start rolling forward. So if you're trying to achieve a stop shot from a long distance, and you don't have enough force to get it past that rolling forward motion, then you're going to achieve follow, which is the total opposite of what you wanted. So I'm going to demonstrate really how that would work. So I'm just going to cue a little bit higher than I should for the stop. And see, it still kept going. So middle ball is not going to work at that distance.
How important is a level cue? I see a lot of the beginners with the back of the cue jacked up a lot.
Yes, it's very important, Larry. And the reason is because the tip is round and the cue ball is round. So anytime that you're shooting low, you're only catching a part of the cue tip. It's going to lead to more miscues and jumping the ball over the ball, you know, things that you don't really want.
Right.
Okay? So if you keep a level cue, and again, you can achieve high or middle or low just by your bridge raising up and down. So you want to keep a nice level cue.
See that? She hardly hit it at all. And the ball, look how far the ball drew back. So I know you like to make the ball go backwards. When I first started doing that, I couldn't believe. I was always trying to draw that ball, get that reverse on it, but don't get carried away with it. Don't get used to carrying the back of your cue way up high. The way to tell an advanced player from a beginner is the levelness of their cue. You see all the pros? Level cues, isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Linda, thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Larry.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be right back. I need to pay some bills. Okay, so listen up. Okay, we're back. Now listen, we've talked about a lot of things on this show, but this is the most important thing. I mean, if you don't get this, your pool career is going to be real short. What we're going to be talking about now is how to aim the ball properly, how to get it into the pocket properly, the concept that you have to have in order to do that. Now, I'm not an expert at it, but this guy here, Charles Skeen, I call him Chucky, he is the expert. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. I want you to just take it away and show us what it is you know about aiming the ball.
My personal method for aiming the ball involves using the center ball hit, which we covered earlier, means hitting the cue ball right in the middle, and using the cue and the ferrule, the white part here that the tip actually rests on, to line up a shot to give you an aiming reference. So what I do on a left cut shot is I use the left side of my ferrule to line up to a spot on the cue ball that runs right into the part of the pocket that I want to hit. So for instance, if I want to hit this part of the pocket, what I do is I draw a line backwards through the ball, and that becomes my contact spot. Now what I do back here is I line up with center ball, and I aim the left edge of the ferrule right to that spot that runs right into the part of the pocket that I want to hit. I have a few warm-up strokes, apply the stroke, and it goes right down the middle onto the spot that I want to hit. And you can do the same thing when you're cutting the ball to the right. When you're cutting the ball to the right, you find a spot on the back of the pocket that you want to aim towards, draw a line backwards to the equator of this ball, which gives you a spot right there, and then back here with center ball, you align the right edge of your ferrule to that spot, right down the middle of the cue ball, and it goes right down the middle, or whichever part of the pocket that you want to hit. Now when you're aiming a straighter in shot, one that has less angle, it's a bit different because what you have to do is instead of using an edge of the ferrule like we did before, you have to use the middle of the ferrule. So, as before, you pick a spot on the back of the pocket that you want to aim for. Pick a spot on the equator. The line comes all the way back through to the equator of the ball. And then with center ball, you aim the middle of your ferrule to that spot.
You need to do in order to get this spot, a lot of times it's a little bit difficult. It's tough. So if the camera can get this, when I take my cue and I put it right up next to the ball, you see the reflection of the cue on the ball?
Oh yeah, I do see that. That's right in the spot that you want to hit.
That's right. And you can mentally capture that spot. And Linda Carter taught me this, and I've been using it all the time now. The other thing is called the ghost ball. And this, you imagine, here you put this ball right on that spot that we defined with the equator, and it's directly lined up towards the center of the pocket. So you imagine your cue ball being right there where this ghost ball is, Chuck, and hit it right there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is aiming. If you don't get this right, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Watch it over and over again and get that concept in your mind so that you make more balls. Chuck, you did a great job.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
He did a great job of explaining it. I hope you do a great job of understanding it. We'll be back with Rack 'em Up, more good stuff. You're going to love it. Come back and see us. Hello again. I've got with me the owner of Rack 'em right here on 6th and Riverside. He's had the place for 23 years, and I can't think of anybody better to explain to the beginners to the intermediates what all these tools are all about. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Well, let's see. Let's start off with let's pull a cue off of a house rack. What should a beginner look for?
Right. Well, this is the type of cue you would normally find in any place that has pool tables. They'll have racks on the walls, and they'll generally have cues somewhat along the lines of these. They vary in weights, and that's pretty much the only difference. Although they also vary in quality, and you're going to want to take a look at a few different things when you're deciding which one you want to use. The first thing that most people know to do and that you should do is make sure the cue is straight. It makes a difference in how you aim, makes a difference obviously in consistency and how the game is played. So first thing you can do is take a table or take a cue that you're interested in, go over to a table and just lay it on the table and just roll it. We've picked out a cue here that is actually not one you should pick. You can see that when you roll it on the table, the tip comes up off the table, and that means it's not perfectly straight. You may not find one that's perfectly straight, and it doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but you want it to be as straight as possible.
Yeah, well, this one wouldn't help my game at all.
No.
This one right over here, what is this?
This is actually a Palmer cue. We chose this one. It was actually made back in the 50s, 60s. Some of the early fathers of the cue making business went and took some of the house cues that were available at the time. This cue actually was this cue at one time, meaning this used to be the type of cue that you would find in a pool room on the wall from the early 1900s through the 1950s. What some of these early gentlemen did was get a cue, a nice good straight one with nice points, and they would make a custom cue out of it by using it essentially as a blank. Cutting the cue, using most of the house cue, putting a nice design at the bottom, and a join in it. That gave the folks an opportunity to have two-piece cues, which are a lot easier to carry around. And this is one of those. There's others out there that, Balabushka, some of the most sought-after cues, some of the most antique and collectible cues are cues that they used, that some of those early guys used house cues for and modified them.
This one here is mine. I bought this in 1974. Now, for folks who are beginners and they say, I really like this game, I'm going to join a league. I want to have something that is consistent, that I can play with and get used to. What's this like?
Well, that's the most important thing. A lot of players will start playing and they will say, well, I'm not good enough to have my own cue. I'm not, I don't want to come into a pool room or a bar and be carrying a cue. Everyone will think I'm supposed to be really good. The point of having any cue, whether it's one that you find on the wall or whether it's one that you have as your own, is that you have something that is straight, has a good tip on it, and allows you to be consistent in your play. And what that generally means is using the same thing every time, the same tip, the same shaft. So this guy is a beginner's cue. It's made similar to some of the more expensive cues. It plays just fine. It's straight. It has a nice tip on it, and you will have the ability. This guy's $50 or $60, and you'd have the ability to learn what this cue does, similar to a set of golf clubs or a tennis racket, and then you'll be able to have the same thing every single time, and you'll be much more consistent with that.
Makes sense.
You don't have to spend lots of money.
Now then you move to an intermediate cue. This is a Mez. This one here is mine, and I bought an Edge Hybrid and a Katana. And both of these are different from the original shaft that I had here. What was that, the D20?
Well, it was a WD-700. That's Mez's standard shaft, which is a great shaft. One of the things that as players progress, they try different things, and they, similar again to golf clubs and other sports equipment, you can try different things and decide what it is that you like, what plays consistently for you. There's lots of things available out there now, and this guy is $700 or $800. These shafts are a couple $100 a piece, and there's some great ones out there, and that you can just buy and just put on cues. You can actually buy some of these real high-level shafts and put them on a real cheap cue if you want.
Wow.
And it comes down to as you.
I want to know about this guy right here.
This guy we're dusting that one off just to show what's available out there. It's a Southwest. It is. It just sort of shows you there's lots of custom upper end high level cues being made also, similar to a piano or a guitar. If you want what is considered the very best,
this is the Steinway.
There's somebody, and
what do we got here?
These guys, this is a break cue designed specifically for breaking the balls. Most cues that you will have, you won't hurt the cue as long as you break correctly. The break, of course, being the first shot where you hit the ball really hard. You will put flat spots in your tip. You will wear down your tip sooner. And so most of the players, if you spend, this guy maybe is in the $10,000 range, right?
Whoa.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend that kind of money on something and then take any chance at all if you're going to hit the ball as hard as you possibly can. So this guy's $99, and so and there's some other things about it too. They make the shaft stiffer so that when you're hitting the ball really hard, it won't tend to bend as much. The tips that we put on them typically are a little harder and a little flatter. You don't want to put much spin on the ball when you're breaking the balls. So just something solid, and
this protects this and this.
Sure.
And this.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, there's just no reason to.
That's our last guy right there.
Yeah, that's the little shorty. That's a jump cue, and it is designed to make it easy. This is just one we made here in the shop, but
twist that off.
it's designed. It has a joint here. There are regulations. The BCA has regulations. Concerning jump cues, has to be 40 inches long, can't be any more than 14 millimeter tip. So it has to be similar to a pool cue rather than just being something like a hammer or something. And
I need to ask you a personal question.
Sure.
The one you sold me, is it legal?
Some places.
Okay. Well,
the regulations vary, but yeah, it has to be 40 inches. The tip technically has to be, the harder the tip, the easier it is to jump a ball. What you're doing is bouncing the ball off the table instead of scooping under it. So the harder the tip, the less energy it absorbs. And so they have taken to putting phenolic tips on these guys, and some of the break cues as well.
That's illegal,
It makes
though,
them harder.
isn't it?
Well, the BCA says the tip has to be a leather or leather-like substance. Now, the most current accepted rule is going to be that they're not allowed those really hard tips. It's essentially a really hard plastic, and those really hard tips can damage pool balls, damage equipment, cut the cloth.
not
If you can
necessary.
put a hard leather tip on your jump cue, you'd be much better off. Although
I don't like anything
most people
that-
are allowed, most organizations allow a phenolic hard plastic tip on a jump cue, but not on a break cue or a shooting cue.
It's like it's playing with a wood bat or metal bat to me. It's like all the rest of the records go down the tubes and not. You got to put an asterisk by it if you use a phenolic tip. I don't. So look,
Some people don't like the jump cue at all. I mean, you'll find everyone in the pool community argues as to whether or not the jump cue should even be allowed at all. In some tournaments, they're not allowed. In some tournaments, they are. You see lots of pros that use them. Everyone argues over whether they should be allowed. Nobody argues over the fact that it's much easier to jump with a cue like this than it is with a cue like this. And so even most of the really good players who don't agree with jump cues have one because they don't want their opponent to have one without them having one.
well, I think if you're looking for a cue, if you're undecided on what to do, you've got some options now, and I think that's a pretty good lesson on what to select. So, Dave, I want to thank you very much,
Sure.
and I appreciate it. And we're going to be right back with some more lessons for you and some more tips. Okay, welcome back, boys and girls. Now, what we're going to try and do today is teach you something on the intermediate level, and I brought a master to teach you how to do it. It's Jesse Allred, our local master.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and teach you a little something about your stroke, a little something about shooting, your mindset, that thing between the two ears here. Everybody has problems with that. You get sharked. So he's going to help us with that. So listen very closely. These are really secrets you should know. Take it away.
Thank you, Larry. I'm going to start with the stroke. A lot of us have learned to play with inconsistencies in our stroke. So there's a simple drill and a routine that I'm going to show you. Before every match, set up a straight-in shot, and it helps to have a friend who can look at your arm. I'm going to show you the inconsistencies that a lot of us have. The first one is the arm needs to be 90 degrees, and a lot of us either hold it too far back or too far forward, and that's an easy fix. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit of getting used to, so it's going to feel weird for quite a while. So just shoot in some straight-in shots and have a friend stand behind you to see if your arm is staying 90 degrees. The other area that we sometimes have inconsistencies in is our arm is either too far outwards or too far inwards. So you'll have a friend hold his hand on your arm and make sure that it's up 90 degrees. Now the third part of this drill is your eye pattern. Now, for me personally, when the tip is at the cue ball, I'm looking at the cue ball. When I pull back, I look at the object ball. Cue ball, object ball. Cue ball, you want to pause, look up at your object ball, pull back, and shoot. Now, it's going to feel strange at first, so there's a little routine that I want you to do every day. Go home, get in front of the mirror, and just for 5 to 10 minutes, just practice your stroke like this. You want to do it until your arm starts getting tired, because you're learning by muscle memory, and you're gonna reinforce the new position of your arm. So that's pretty important. Shooting, or the stroke, is the basics. So I'm going to now teach you about position. We miss a lot of shots because we haven't decided on where we want the cue ball to go, or which English to shoot. So when you're playing and you have a shot, if you haven't made your mind up, I want you to stand up. If you're down on the shot and you're not sure if you're going to be able to make the position, stand up and walk around the table and reevaluate the situation. Once you're sure about where you're going to go, get back down and confidently decide on that final decision. Now, another thing where it causes us to lose a lot of games, actually, is our body language and our mindset. You see, a lot of us, actually, we will be shooting, and if we miss a shot or make a mistake, we'll slump our shoulders, we'll comment on the mistake, and that actually gives your opponent quite a bit of confidence, and you're going to lose some confidence. So when you're down on a shot, if you miss, I want you to not have any reaction to it. It's important to stay confident and not let your opponent see any weakness. Now, another part to this is a very quick way to improve your winning percentage without months of learning to pocket the ball better, learn new shots, is play within your ability. And by that, I mean, if you have a tough shot, instead of shooting it and missing and selling out the game, practice a couple safes and use those instead. You can leave your opponent a bank or a tough shot, and now instead of rattling the ball and losing the game, let's say 7 out of 10 times, now you leave your opponent in a tough position, and now you're winning 7 out of 10 games. So I really believe that with those tips and your nightly routine in front of the mirror, you've got a great chance of overcoming that plateau and improving.
Jesse, that was great. That was just really great.
Thank you very much.
I've got homework. You've got homework too. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor. I'm really lucky. I asked for a volunteer intermediate and a volunteer beginner, and I got 2 Goyles. I'm so excited to have you here. This is Linda and this is Chelsea. This is our intermediate and this is our beginner. And what we did was we sent them off to break the balls 3 times and run out as many balls as they possibly could and take an average. Now, the beginner, what did you come up with on an average?
I had a 5.
5
Yes.
was your average. That's pretty good for a beginner.
Yeah, it was good. I was breaking the balls out good, but
But your average run was 5.
Yes.
And you?
I was an average of an 8.
An average of an 8. Now, what was your high run? It was 13, I heard.
Right.
You had a 13-ball
yes,
run.
on the last run, yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. Now, the reason why we did this, though, was to demonstrate that if they follow the drills and they follow the tips that Jesse and Linda have been giving, that these folks here are going to really improve their game. Now, as we go from week to week to week, you like Dancing with the Stars? You're going to like playing pool with these girls. You'll see how they improve. All right, so make sure you come back next week and find out how they do, because you're going to go back and do it again after your new lessons and your new drills and see how you do. What are you shooting for? You have a goal?
12.
12, and you?
well, how high does it go?
That's right.
Oh,
She's a
watch out,
beginner.
folks. Watch out, folks. Now, you put your quarter up, you got to be really careful against her. Okay, well, thanks for joining us for this segment, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is Darren Appleton, current World 9-ball champion and world rank #1. The reason why I'm so successful is because I'm really determined, but I really put the work in. But not just on the practice, but also taking care of my health. And the biggest difference between I'd probably say Europe and America is that, especially the kids in Europe, they're all trained and they're always looking to practice with better players and not necessarily just playing for money, but just practice really hard, and they're always asking for advice. Where over here, I don't really see the kids asking the better players for advice. They're just they're asking them. It's more of a case they're asking them for the 7-ball playing 10-ball or the 6-ball playing 9-ball. And when I was a kid, I never did that. I just wanted to be the best I can. And even if I was in a bad game, I always thought, well, even if I lose, I'm going to gain a lot more from that by losing. Because you improve a lot more and you learn a lot more at this game by losing than you do winning.
Well, thanks for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We tried to make it not only informative, but entertaining too as well. I've seen a lot of training videos out there, and I hope it was more fun watching this than it was watching those. Sometimes it's just tough to sit there and do nothing but listen and learn and study. So I thought I'd try and trick people into having a little bit more fun playing the game of pool by teaching them a few things. The concept itself is wrapped around teaching people the rules of pool. We want to make sure that they have fun playing the game, and that's what the rules are for, to help you have fun. I wanted to promote league play. I've been in BCA now for, I guess, 6 or 7 years. Time passes so quick. And I've really enjoyed myself. I love the concept of team play. It's so much different than Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason because of girls. The women have really added a great aspect to the game. Trust me on this. When I go to league night, I really enjoy looking at the women play pool. And it's on a level plane too, as well as men. We might be able to break a little harder, but that's about it. But the thing about it is you can go into a bar or a tavern and you can play pool, and you can have a beer or two, but the environment checks itself, so you don't get drunk. You get drunk, you get thrown off your team. So you can't drink too much. You could just drink the way you're supposed to, just enough to enjoy yourself and have a good time, but don't hurt your game. You go all around, you meet all different kinds of other people from all ever different walks of life, and you all have something in common. And the thing that you have in common is pool. And you talk about it, strategies, how to hit the ball, how to play better. And at any time in your life, as I proved with myself, at 53 years old, I started the game and went from a C player to an A player. What other sport can you improve in like that? We've got 30 million pool players out there. We got 1 million of them who are in leagues. Those other pool players should come once a week. It costs you maybe $10 to play, including splitting the quarters on the table. That's cheap. If you want to eat there too, you might go to 20. But that's not too much once a week to get out there and have some fun with some other people. I just love the concept. There's a lot of people who started dating and got married because of the pool. So it doesn't hurt. There's business contacts. It's just a great social environment. And it's constructive and it's productive, and I love it. And I think America should just turn on with this. I think that league play has to be introduced out there more prevalently. Anyway, I wanted to inspire beginners by giving them free tips. You don't have to pay for the lessons. Tell them it's okay to come in with a pool cue. You just want the same one to shoot with every time. It doesn't mean that you're a great pool player. I wanted to help intermediates. You know, when I go in and I play pool, all I want to come out of there with every single time I go and play is one new thing that I learned that'll help my game. Who knows when it could come up? And so much thanks to Linda for Linda Carter donating her time, and Jesse Allred. You got to YouTube him and see him play behind the back. Finally, I think there's a great venue to introduce new products, teach people about the ones that they already have, the advances in technology in the game, like the new chalk and the Magic Rack. I want to help the industry. I think it's a great game to play all year round. When I was in 7th grade, I walked across the gym floor and asked a girl, Arlene Rubenstein, to dance. And she said no. And I had to walk all the way back across the gym. And everybody at the dance, with the girls on one side and the boys on the other side, saw me get turned down. That was tough. When I'm playing pool, it's a round robin. I don't have to walk around the gym. I just have to walk from one pool table to the other. And that's all you have to do too, to meet somebody new. Now this isn't Match.com or something. This is pool. Life is fun. Pool is serious. So look, finally, thanks once again to everybody. If I get sponsors for this concept or somebody picks it up and they want to run with it and they think they can do a better job of it than I have, I'm for it. I think we can produce it ourselves right here in beautiful downtown Medford, Oregon. And I hope you sponsors out there who watch this will help us further the cause of our own great love, and that's the game of pool. I'm Larry Nathan, and thanks for watching Rack 'em Up.